Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, FedRAMP modernization guidance is here, and HHS reorganizes its tech policy functions. It's Friday, July 26, 2024. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Here are today's top headlines. The White House will issue final FedRAMP modernization guidance Friday as a response to cloud market changes and agency needs for more diverse mission delivery. The final guidance, previewed by FedScoop before its official release, aims to reform the Cloud Security Authorization Program by increasing focus on several strategic goals, such as enabling FedRAMP to conduct rigorous reviews and requiring cloud service providers to quickly mitigate any security architecture weaknesses to protect federal agencies from the most salient threats. OMB began accepting public comments on a draft version of the guidance last fall. The memo places particular emphasis on a program to establish an automated process for intaking, using, and reusing security assessments and reviews to reduce the burden on participants and speed up the implementation process for cloud solutions. In an interview with FedScoop, Drew Michael Gard, the Deputy Federal Chief Information Officer, and Eric Mill, the General Services Administration's Executive Director for Cloud Strategy, agreed that with the memo, both offices zeroed in on how best to ensure success in agency implementation. Following the release of the guidance, agencies will have 180 days to issue or update agency-wide policy that aligns with the memorandum's requirements. The policy has to promote the use of cloud computing products and services that meet the program's security and other risk-based performance requirements as determined by the Office of Management and Budget, GSA, and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Additionally, agency policies should not assume that particular paths or sponsors of FedRAMP authorizations are unacceptable in accordance with the presumption of adequacy of program authorizations. Alongside agencies, the GSA has 180 days to update the program's continuous monitoring processes and associated documentation to reflect the memorandum's principles, 1 year to produce a plan that structures FedRAMP to encourage agencies to move away from government-specific cloud infrastructure, 18 months to enable authorization and continuous monitoring through machine-readable and automated means, and 24 months to ensure that governance, risk, and compliance and system inventory tools can ingest and produce artifacts using open secure control assessment language. GSA will explore the use of emerging technologies in various FedRAMP processes as appropriate, the guidance also noted. In other news, the Department of Health and Human Services on Thursday announced a major reorg of its key tech policy functions. Under the reorganization, the department-wide Chief Technology, Data, and AI Officer roles will move from the Assistant Secretary for Administration, which houses the Office of the Chief Information Officer, to the Office of the National Coordinator for Health Information Technology. That latter office, known as ONC, will also get the additional title of Assistant Secretary for Technology Policy, and its updated abbreviation will be ASTP/ONC. Meanwhile, the 405D program, which coordinates efforts between the health sector and federal government on cybersecurity, will move from the Assistant Secretary for Administration to the Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response. The department said the reorganization would clarify and consolidate these critical functions, and in a statement provided in a release, HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra said the new structure prepares the department for the challenges that lie ahead. Becerra called cybersecurity, data, and AI some of the most pressing issues facing the healthcare space today and said the department needs to be agile, accountable, and strategic to meet the needs of this moment. The reorganization will establish an Office of the Chief Technology Officer under ASTP/ONC and reinstitute the role of a CTO. The CTO role has been unfilled since Ed Simcox departed in 2020. That office will oversee department-level and cross-agency technology, data, and AI strategy and policy, and house the CAIO and CDO roles, in addition to a new Office of Digital Services. Mickey Tripathi, the current National Coordinator for Health IT and acting CAIO, will have the added title of Assistant Secretary for Technology Policy. Tripathi was recently named as the department's acting CAIO, FedScoop previously reported, taking over the role from Greg Singleton. That change complied with the White House's recent memo on AI, which required agencies to designate CAIOs at the executive level. According to the announcement, the new ASTP/ONC office is looking to also fill the Chief Technology, AI, and Data Officer roles more permanently. Similar to the CAIO, the department's CDO role is currently being carried out on an acting basis by Banaz Dean. The ASTP/ONC is hosting a webinar about those roles on August 1st. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back next week with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.